Welcome to Series 3 of Vaughan Socks, which starts tomorrow. This is a bit of a preview. We're on the road to nowhere. Come on inside. We'll take that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. I'm feeling okay this morning, and you know, we're on the road to paradise. Here we go, here we go. Would you like to come along? You can help me sing this song. It's alright, it's alright. They can tell you what to do, but they can make a fool of you. It's alright, it's alright. Series 3 is going to be based on a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's all about my interviews, all the interviews I've had, most of them, and it's called Have You Come Far? A Life in Interviews, and I'll be reading extracts. There'll be a bit of music to it and so on and so on. But interviews are interesting things because they sort of like focus and encapsulate what an institution is about, and the bigger the institution, the more you can see it's about, and so the interviewers are more revealing about the place than you are about yourself, really. In my experience, they are. And they also, one of the thrusts of interviews which comes across is they say they want somebody who can change things, who can do things and change the institution and so on and so forth. Most of it's bullshit, actually, and they don't want that at all. They want people like themselves. Although I was once interviewed for a principalship of a famous London art college, and one of the interviewers leant across to me as external assessor, and he said, how many people have you sacked? And I said, sacked? How do you mean, fired them? He said, yeah. I said, why do you ask that? I said, why do you want sacked? I said, he said, well, everybody here, we want to have as many people here sacked as possible in this art college. And that was his sort of way of dealing with it. But again, it was, something that reflected them rather than necessarily reflected real change. It was to do with the changes that they thought, and that if you could fit into them, then you get the job. I didn't get that job, and but anyway, most of the interviews I'll deal with in the book. There were some interviews that actually didn't get into the book because they were too short for reasons beyond my control. One was with a woman psychiatrist in Brooklyn, New York, and I think let's say she wanted her idea of fitting in was sort of in a different sense. But I won't go there. And there was another woman, with a woman interviewing me in a Far East country, and by a swimming pool, and she was absolutely wankered. And we started the interview, and anyway, she took a step back and she fell into the swimming pool fully clothed, and I had to fish her out. Luckily, she wasn't holding a microphone or wearing one. She just had a notebook with her, which was floating on the water. But anyway, but we might pull a few of those little ones in as well, because they're quite funny. Anyway, the main thing is that most of the people who are running institutions or interviewing you, they say they want to change, but actually they want things to remain the same, as I said. And they're really, it's like a spinning top for them. They just want to keep the top spinning, which is the organisation. And so the road that they're on, they say they want new paths and all this sort of bullshit. But in fact, the road goes round and round and round. It's a road to nowhere. And that's why we got this. We're on a ride to nowhere. Come on inside. Take that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. Maybe you wonder where you are. I don't care. Here is where time is on your side. Take you there, take me there. join me tomorrow.